already do very well. And it's not just about networking, creating networks within our Margi community, but how can we really build relationships with other organizations, with other people who really are good, who really want to see the world improve. Because there's many, many good people out there. And when we connect with them, we bring something. We bring an extra clarity that is needed. But they also have things that can amplify, that can increase our message and our impact in the world. Because we are small. And the work that Baba is expecting of us is huge. To truly create a civilizational change, to really bring about a whole change of consciousness, this takes so many people. And we need all the good people that we can find. So Baba's spirit is to unite the moralists. With the progress of science, the globe has become smaller to the human eye. No place on the earth is now inaccessible, and this is why it is the most opportune moment for building a universal human society. Set yourselves to the task without any further delay. Remember, a human society based on ideology must be built with the help of all the moralists and progressive people of the universe. This is the only way for the survival of human civilization. And then his quote on unity: we have only learned how to divide and subdivide, and we never learned how to unite the people. Yeah. So we see so much evidence right now. There's a great polarization happening in the world. And there really is progressive work happening, but there's a lot of fear and backlash. And you see the rise of the conservative far right more and more. And that is so much based on the hatred, the division, the fear. So it makes this quote even more relevant. It's very easy for human beings to break apart into smaller groups. It's harder to bring people together. But it's not impossible. And that's what builds strong networks. Strong networks are built on common purpose. Yeah? Having the same purpose is what gives unity to the family. Even on the family level. Why so much divorce? Right? Why so many families break apart? Because they forget their common goal. They consider maybe their goal only their individual happiness, who's not understood. And all of the trees, all of the wells are tapping into the same underground water. No, it's such as that underground water. It's everywhere. You dig your well, I dig my well in a different place, but the same water is coming up, actually. Right? Maybe different flavor a little bit, but same. And so this is what's amazing. When we start looking around, we see Baba's ideas starting to penetrate and bubble up all around us through different manifestations. And I find that very inspiring. Yesterday, I spent some time reading the new, from I think 2023. Here in India, you have a new national curriculum, national educational curriculum. Have some of you read it? Have you read it?
Yes.
Yeah? So I was very inspired to see some phrases I took from it. The rich heritage of ancient and eternal Indian knowledge and thought has been a guiding light for this policy. The pursuit of jnana, knowledge, wisdom, prajna, and truth, satya, was always considered in Indian thought and philosophy as the highest human goal. The aim of education in ancient India was not just the acquisition of knowledge as preparation for life in this world or life beyond schooling, but for the complete realization and liberation of the self. Does that sound familiar? No? I mean, this sounds very similar to the impulse that Baba was giving to education. And I find that really encouraging, that we're not alone in this mission. I also find it very significant for India to have that in a national policy. Because all over the world, the focus is usually just on preparing the citizen to integrate into the system, to be able to, to be productive economic members of the capitalistic society. So to mention self-realization, to mention Satya, Gyan in a national curriculum is great because it's moving India away from the colonized mentality, in which it was all of the externally by the English colonizers, right? And so this is a reclaiming of the richness of the Indian heritage, and that India really can be leading education in this way. It can be leading this recon education for the whole being, and for wisdom, and for happiness, and for spirituality. In the West, we have become very secular, and it was good because it freed the society from this constraint of dogma, because science couldn't progress with the Christian dogmas, right? And so the separation of church and state, because all education was only happening through the religions. I went to visit Princeton when I was in the States recently. And Princeton, Yale, Harvard, do you know what they were originally? They were seminaries. They were the schools for the priests. They all began as schooling for the religious orders. Yeah, and then they had high standard, and they became then secular also. But as society moved to secular, we threw away also the baby with the bathwater. Do you know this expression? It means you're throwing away the bathwater, but oops, you forgot the baby's still inside. And then we can do much better work when we have the people who have those skills. We don't have to have those skills. You actually don't have to have all those skills, but you have to know how to communicate and work with people that do, and to be their inspiration. You have to be able to give them the clarity, the direction, the right light. Yes. Yeah. So to address the challenges of our time, we must embrace complexity and work collaboratively across systems of diverse stakeholders, even and especially when the path is unclear. Usually we want to know exactly what's the goal, what's going to happen, what will be the result. But when you're working in a big collaboration, you don't know. It's all about communication. And important thing to understand about networks, the difference between an association or an organization and a network is in an organization it has a clear leadership structure, like we are an organization. We have a clear leadership structure. When you work in a network, you are bringing together organizations, usually. Sometimes individuals, but can be also individuals. But it's more like a cooperative. So you have a lot of people that are equals. The leadership has to be shared. It's not imposed. People are in networks. Often networks are not even formalized. Some of them are. Impact networks means it's an intentional network, that you come together because you have a mission that you share. Like you're going to improve early childhood, in India. And so you can make a network, a coalition of different actors, different organizations. Even if you are the organization that sets up the coalition, you step back and you give equal space to everyone. It's not an opportunity just to impose one way of thinking. It's really to bring thinking and work collaboratively, cooperative and coordinated cooperation. This is a skill that is needed for making networks work. So we have to figure that out. Coordinated cooperation, not subordinated, right? In an organization, it has to be subordinated, for the efficient working of the organization. But when you're in networks, you're working coordinated between many different people and with respect for you might not agree with them. You don't have to agree with everything that they do, but you have to have some common mission. Like I said, common mission, common goal is what creates unity, because we don't have to like each other. We don't have to be good friends, necessarily, to work well together. Yeah, it's nice, it's better when we get along, when we're friendly, when we have friendship and like this, but we don't have to 100%, have everything in common in order to just simply focus, okay, like when we come into an organization, or when you're assigned to a posting, you didn't choose these people, you inherit it. Some you like, some you don't, right? But you have to work together. And the working together, having that common goal, it makes us work together, even with the people that are, pleasant, unpleasant. And we grow through that process, because we have to also sacrifice a little bit and bend a little bit. This creates resilient network. I don't think it's correct, but it was funny. It was like, don't prachar them. Pracharing the person. So it's not starting out with your idea first. His recommendation is listen. Understand the problem of the person where they're coming from. Start there. No, really, we say listening, yes, I hear you because my ear is functioning. Of course I listen to you. But many times when we listen, we're simply preparing to speak. And we're not really taking in what the other person says. So in communication, we talk about active listening. Have you heard about this? Active listening. It means you don't just hear physically, but you kind of reflect back to the person what you understood. So if the person is saying, today I went there and I had so many things to do and it was really tiring. And so if you just listen like this, it's good. If you go, But then if you say something like, oh, you must be really tired. I can understand you had a hard day. You're reflecting back to them. You're showing them what you understand. This builds the empathy. That's how people feel your empathy. When your body can show them the empathy by your eyes, by your expression, by how you look at them. But your empathy also is coming from when you tell them what you understood they said. Now, if you're in a situation with people on a topic, so like sort of professional situation, you tell them what like if I meet somebody and they're working on, they're also working on refugee work, I will listen first to what they're doing. What has been their strategy? What kind of work are they doing? And I will compliment them on their work. I'll say, that's amazing. I really like this, or I like that. I like how you're doing this. I understand that. That's also what Baba talks about next. Validation, appreciate, respect, praise. This really helps people to they respect you. If you respect them, they respect you. So when you show them your respect by appreciating what you see that is good, that you agree with. Again, even if you didn't agree with everything, find the things you do agree with. And we call that in education positive reinforcement. Child might be doing many things you don't like, but you don't emphasize things he shouldn't do, because he will do more. As you think, so you become, right? So you find what he's doing right, and you praise it, and you put attention on it. So he'll stop doing the negative things, and he'll like the positive attention. So similar, this validation, this empathy, empathic listening, and validating people, I think Baba wanted us to learn these skills. And so these are very, very important for successful prachar, and networking is one type of prachar too. So same approach is what I use. When I'm going to these, when I'm in a context where I'm there with different people, even from Ministry of Education or whatever, I first try to understand what their problem is. And then I try to appreciate what they're doing so far, and I ask questions. I don't start out by telling them anything. I wait until they're interested, and then tell what we're doing.